You had played this past weekend. So tell me, how was it? I want to know everything.
It was great. It was a long drive, but it was definitely worth it. I left Friday right after school, got there, had about an hour until the first session, and I went in kind of nervous, right? Like hadn't played in a while, but what was great was like nobody else had either. So we're all in there, we're warming up. It was great to see everybody, and we weren't able to high five or anything, had to stay 6 feet apart. But just getting to play with everybody. And then I met some new people too, some of the Bend girls that I hadn't really met before. So that was super great. So it was just a full weekend of volleyball, and I got to see my like teammates, I got to meet new people, and it was just kind of getting back into the groove. I didn't really realize how much I had missed it
Hmm.
until I was getting to do it again. And now I love it and I can't wait to do it again.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Hashtag volleyball's fun.
Honestly.
Uh, Tell us, so not everybody knows, obviously here in Oregon, we go county by county. And so depending on like your risk assessment level, that determines what you're allowed to do in terms of everything. But it also affects youth club sports. So given that, we are where we are and each county is kind of different, can you tell us just a little bit like, where did you go? How far was it? What was, you say play, was it 6-on-6? What did you guys do?
So it was in Lakeview. So that's about 5 hours from where I am. The drive's kind of rough. It's kind of out there, right? Close to Bend. Um, Definitely like the elevation was different. I was needing to drink more water. Like the whole surroundings were different. Um, so that was super cool experience. And then yeah, we'd go in, we'd play some tennis, right? Just to kind of warm up, get the ball control going. And then we'd play some Queen of the Court, right? Start to hit a little bit, right? Warming up my hands, passing, serving, all that. And then we'd kind of go straight into 6-on-6 games. And it was
Cool.
awesome. They'd split us up totally random. Um, we'd break into groups based off of our positions, and then we'd count off. And there were 2 courts. So we'd count off into fours, and then we'd go to our team and we'd just play some pickup games, and we'd switch around the teams and we'd do it. And
Cool.
it was great because it was just playing and it was getting comfortable with the game again, and just through really getting to play games, you introduce yourself to your team, and then it's creating a relationship basically around volleyball. And it was fantastic. I met so many people, um, and it's great because now I'm talking to them and we're talking about if we're going to do it again. I know they're planning stuff
Oh,
in
cool.
Seattle, so we're talking about seeing each other in Seattle, and it's great. It was it was so much fun.
That sounds cool. It sounds a little bit kind of like, if you've done, I think you have like summer camps, right? Overnight camps or college camps. You meet some new people, you connect right away, and then when it's over, you keep in touch and like, hey, you're gonna do this, and you might see each other again. So I think actually what's interesting, and you and I hadn't planned this conversation, but I like where it's going because you said you drove what 5 or 6 hours to Lakeview
Mhm.
to play, weekend of volleyball. That actually sounds a lot like what you do in college, right? I mean, you're gonna travel, you might fly or bus or van. So I'm curious, right? Like, give us your perspective. As an student athlete, how do you like being on the road like that? The 6 hours one way or 6 hours each way. How do you
Um,
handle that?
Normally I can get car sick. I can, especially with like the bendy roads. But what was great was we went with one of my teammates because we wanted to split the cost of a hotel room while we were staying there. So I went with my buddy Gracie Bader, and so our moms were talking in the front seat, we're talking in the back seat. We slept a lot of the way, but it was great. We're getting to talk about everything, talking about school. We're talking about how nervous we were to play, and our parents are basically catching up the same way. So the ride where it kind of seems like it was going to be a pain in the butt really wasn't that bad. It was fun. It was a way to catch up and kind of sit and think about, the weekend, what I was going to do, like I wonder if we'll do this, if we'll do that. And it was not as bad as I thought it was going to be.
Okay, well that's good. I know that have you, we're in the Pacific Northwest, so have you played in the Spokane qualifier? Have you ever played in that?
So, yeah, I think so.
Okay, it's that's also a 6-hour drive, right? So maybe you're familiar with that, but I guess you would have been younger. The reason I'm asking is because each conference, their travel schedule it can vary, right? I mean, some have it really nice. When I worked in California, Southern California, I mean, we could drive to 8 out of the 9 like opponents that we played. And a lot of them were kind of within less than 2 hours, right? Now, other teams in the conference, they weren't so lucky. Hawaii, they had to fly everywhere they go. UC Davis pretty much has to fly and drive. I mean, they're on the road a long time. So I guess my question is, do you see like travel as being a constraint on like colleges that you would be interested or consider,
No, not really. I like traveling. I like the road. Sometimes we'll listen to books, sometimes we'll listen to music, sometimes we just talk. I think traveling is really fun. I think I don't know how to describe it. I'm thinking about where I am, where I'm going, and it's like, this is how I need to get there. And I just kind of make it fun, where it could be uncomfortable, but I've never had a problem with it.
Good. All right. Yeah. Well, sweet. Okay, so you traveled. You mentioned that when you got down there, you played a little tennis. Tell us a little bit about you. Like, we all know the game tennis. It's 1-on-1, 2-on-2. It's playful. I think it's one touch that you guys played down there, right? Okay, so tennis as a warm up can be like just a warm up and an opportunity to socialize and get to know people, but it can also be very competitive. So, like, are you one or the other? Are you both? Tell us a little bit about that.
I'm definitely both. When I'm starting out, it's kind of, I'm warming up. I'm starting to get into the groove of everything, right? But then towards the end, it definitely gets super competitive, right? Because then it's like we're doing the connect the dots where you have to call the other person's name as you're passing it over. And it gets fun. You start laughing, and I don't know, it's competitive, yes, but I'm having fun. Like, even if I lose the round, it's like, well, that was a really good spot that they went to. And so it's not a like aggressive competition, I suppose. It's a super fun way to warm up and start to get that competitive bone going, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. And you also mentioned that there's like mixing, so you count off 1 to 4. I really like the sound of that, and I'd like to know how your experience was with, diving right into it after being off for however many weeks of not playing, and having to play with people that, again, some of them meeting for just the first time. Was that challenging? Was it? Yeah, go ahead.
It was a bit nerve-wracking at first. I didn't really know where I was gonna be or where I was gonna fit into it all. But everybody was on the same page. I mean, everybody had been on the same break that I had been on. And I mean, varying things. Like, I've been able to work out a little bit. Other people haven't, right? So we're all kind of in the same boat, essentially. And so that definitely took a little bit of the edge off of it, right? Like, I wasn't as nervous when I kind of came to terms with that. When I realized that everybody there was probably thinking the exact same thing I was, it made it less difficult. And I don't know, I've always been a pretty social person, so talking to them and getting to know them wasn't difficult for me. It was just kind of getting to know them as a player that like was a little bit more difficult. But after 2 games, maybe even 1 game, it's like I'd been playing with them forever, because it was like we were reteaching ourselves the game with one another. And that just I think that's what made it such a great experience, was getting to meet people and kind of remember how much we love the game. And that's what we all have in common. And so that's what made it pretty easy at the end of the day. Yeah.
That's really cool. That's really cool, because it sounds like as difficult as it was, that you guys adapted rather quickly,
Yeah.
and I think that's cool because when we were talking about like, hey, what do we want to do when y'all get there, I think it was very clear, like, look, these players have been cooped up for 5-6 weeks, right?
Yeah.
So the last thing they want to do is come down here and not play and compete and at least get a shot at like the competitive part of the game, right? And obviously, me, I like to have you guys playing as much as possible, but I don't think that you guys could have gotten that connection as quickly as you did if if you weren't just thrown into that that kind of like environment.
Absolutely.
What we're just talking about it was making me think about, obviously I'm excited for college volleyball to start this weekend. And but I know that it's going to be a challenge, right? To hear you say that you knew that everybody showing up last weekend was in the same boat, like no one has been able to train. And so there's like an equalizer there. When I think about these college programs, like training and opportunities have not been equal. Some of them have not been able to train indoors. Some of them have to be 10 feet apart and can only do like one-on-one drills.
Yeah.
So, it's going into this weekend. It's not a level playing field. I wonder what your thoughts are on that. And could you maybe put yourself in maybe not that same situation, but like, how would you as an athlete, how do you think you would handle that kind of sort of, what's the word I'm looking for? Like unequal playing field? I don't know.
What you're saying.
Okay.
Wow, that's big. I feel like I just have to take advantage of the opportunities that I was given, right? Like I'd have to just make the most of what I got to do and go in there and think, if maybe I was in a situation where I had to stay 10 feet apart and had to play one-on-one games. Well, you know what? At least I was able to play. And maybe that upped my personal game, right? So I'm going to go in there and I'm just going to work. I'm going to work hard, right? And I'm going to be a team player. And hopefully that's going to be enough, right? And then if I'm getting lots of opportunity, if I'm able to play 6-on-6 and get into the gym, right? Then that's even better. Then it's like, yes, I've been getting to play. This is going to be great. We're going to get back into this. I think that's a really difficult situation to be in. And it's just kind of playing the game that I've been able to play. So I feel like part of me would want to complain about it. Well, this isn't fair. We weren't able to do this, but like, my whole team is probably feeling that way too, so I don't need to feel that way. I guess I'd just try and look on the bright side. Like, I'm getting to play, we're getting to have a season, we're gonna go play another team. This is gonna be fun. It's a learning experience and it's crazy for everybody, no matter the circumstances. So I guess it's just kind of trying to cope with what I'm given. I don't know, that's crazy. I can't even imagine.
I think it can be either easy or, you can sort of succumb to players or teammates that like want to complain or make excuses, right? I don't think that's a new concept to you. I think you're aware of that. You're a setter, so you know.
Yeah.
But like, every team, especially in college, gets tested. Like if it's not going well, it just, in a way to like de-stress a little bit. Oh, now I sound like I'm making excuses for players, but one way to kind of cope or deal with it, some players tend to complain and, they kind of lose track of, I don't know, the goal or the work that needs to be done to like, just keep looking ahead. So I'm not sure exactly what my question is, but like in that regard, like what do you bring to your team? What would you bring to my team? If I'm a college coach, I'm recruiting you. And say that's something that I'm concerned about. How are you going to help me and our team combat that, I don't know, susceptibility to like, I don't know, complaining and
No,
excuses making, you know? Yeah.
yeah, yeah. You know, I've had teammates that complain a lot, right? And I feel like it's good to complain sometimes. You know, if you're sore, you had a hard workout, it's good to be like, wow, that really sucked, right? But I know me personally, if I'm sore, that's kind of to me like that means I'm getting better, right? So yeah, it sucked in the moment, but then afterwards it's like, hey, I'm getting something out of it. So I think something that I could really do, you know, personally, just me as a person, I think there's value in complaining, but it's I don't like to like oh, what is the word?
Fester in it. I don't know.
No, almost. I don't like to, you know, yeah. I don't want that to kind of be what I focus on, right? Like I want to be able to move on from that and use it as a good thing. Look on the bright side almost.
Mhm.
And I know with some of my teammates, you know, that have complained, it's like, yeah, but you're doing great. I have a teammate who was complaining about leg day, right? She was super sore. The squats just sucked, right? She was tired of doing box jumps. Then after the next practice, I was like, but you're jumping so much higher because of it, right? Like all that work you're putting in that you think sucks. I mean, you're getting better. I think that's something that a lot of people are able to do. I know I used to complain a lot when I was first getting into, you know, being an athlete, taking it seriously, wanting to take it to the next level. There was a lot I had to complain about. I mean, it's a different caliber of work. You know, you have to really dedicate yourself. And I had a really great support system that is like, yeah, but if this is what you want to do, this is what you have to go through to get there, right? And it's just kind of looking at that in the future, like, if this is what I want to do, this is what I have to do to get there. So it might suck in the moment, but it's kind of looking forward. It's not. I almost want to say marinating in it, but that doesn't make any sense. It's like
Yeah.
I don't want to let that consume me, I guess. Yeah.
Okay. No, I hear what you're saying. And actually, as I was following along, you know, what I was thinking you were saying, you confirmed it there for me. Yeah. Not let it consume you. And it also sounds like what you're telling me is like, look, I recognize that I signed up for, you know, this big goal, and along with all the great things that are going to come out of this pursuit, and ultimately, you know, achieving my goal, your goal, you accept that there's work that comes along with it. There's pain, there's sacrifice, there's some days where you're going to be like, dang, this sucks, that sucked. You know, I'm not going to say that was awesome, that was terrible, right? But I get the sense that you might be the kind of person that says, okay, I'm going to take this, instead of letting it just continue to grow and you know, negatively affect me internally. I'm just going to call it what it is. I'm going to place it right there, and I'm going to move on. Like, it's there, and I'm not saying it needs to be a focal point for anybody else. I'm placing it there. I'm reframing. I'm refocusing, and I know that as I look ahead, like, this is going to pay off, right? And good's going to come from it.
Absolutely.
Cool.
That was well said. That was what I was trying to say.
That's what you were saying. I'm trying real careful not to put words into your mouth. So I'm just like, I'm reflecting what I think I heard, and
yes.
you're confirming it. So
you're very right. I just did not say it as elegantly.
No, I think you're doing really well, honestly. This says awesome sauce, Maddie. Should we watch this? I don't know. These are some of the notes that I try to make. So when I'm putting together marketing videos for our social media, it makes it easier to know, like, oh, here's a clip that has to go in there, right? So, I mean, just for fun, we might as well look at this one, right?
Do it.
Let's see here. I'm not going to share sound because sometimes it gets really loud. Can you see it? Okay. Oh.
Well, that's because that was good. That's why it's awesome sauce.
Oh, just casually just hammers this two ball. Awesome sauce, Maddie. Yeah, okay. That I don't know if this made it into any of our marketing videos yet, but it'll be in the next one for sure. I should note there's some awesome sauce by you too, because this is a very accurate, an extremely accurate set. Backpedaling, yeah. So you get some awesome sauce as well.
Awesome.
Should we watch this again? I'm sorry, we were talking while we were watching. This is a really great rally, actually.
Okay.
I think maybe I'd be curious what your observations are, before I say anything.
Well, I already remember this game distinctly.
What was this game?
Well, we were playing Alexis, Emily Bourne. That's Clarissa, and then I think Haley, right, is the libero on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
I was doing the forefront practices, so I was getting to know these girls at those practices, and I was really looking forward. And we were like, this is going to be a tough game. It was our last game of the night, so we were tired. I just remember thinking, we are going to burn out all our energy right now in this game because, it's the last game of the night, and we knew it was going to be a difficult one. I just remember every rally, we were just going for everything. We're hitting the floor. I fell over after that pass. They hit hard and they're good and they go for everything. And it was so much fun because I think in the back of our minds, we're like, you know what, there is a good possibility that we might lose this, but we're not going to make it easy for them. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember playing that game thinking we have absolutely nothing to lose. So we were just going all out and we were trying new things. If they worked, great. If they didn't, great. We won't do that again. Or we will do it again and see if it works then. It was just it was one of the more fun games in that quad season. And I just remember it vividly. People were finishing and they're coming and lining up on the sides watching that game because we were going for a while. I don't know. I love playing those difficult teams because even if we lose, we learn from it. It was great because I know after that, I didn't think I could ever pass Emily Bourne, but I did. And so that made me feel so great. I felt like the coolest kid in town, right? And it just kind of gave me confidence. The next time we played them, I know I was picking up a lot more of her stuff and I know we were getting a lot more points and it was fun. I remember that was one of the most fun games that we played. So.
Yeah. I think that's important too, because to give folks some context who are watching, you and three other teams, your teams were all kind of like the top four, I would say, in those leagues over the summer. And I think on paper, people would say, okay, there's the 1 and 2 teams. I think you were playing the number 1 team there. And then not a huge drop off, but they were the top 2 and then you and another team. So what I'm trying to get at is most college programs, their goal, if it's not to win the whole thing, at a minimum, they need to finish in the top 4. Right. And I believe you guys had faced that opponent a couple of times throughout the season, the league season.
Yeah.
But I like that as you reflect on that game, I'm hearing a lot of, we're looking forward to it. We're going to play hard. We knew it was going to be tough. I'm hearing a lot of the kind of stuff that I want to hear, right? Knowing that you're going up against the top dog, because for some that can be daunting or deflating, or in worst case, it can be demotivating. You know what I mean? And so again, if I'm recruiting you, if you're coming into my program, I certainly want to know, are you, it sounds like it, but I'm just going to ask you, would you consider yourself the kind of player that's going to look at, the top gun and say, we're coming after you. And I'm not going to shy away from, what I need to do or what I need to do to help my team beat you guys, so.
No, absolutely. I know during my school season, West Albany and Corvallis, we were kind of like rivals, right? Like that was the team, like they won a game, we won a game, right? And it was just kind of, we were neck and neck the whole season. And I didn't play much during my school season, but I know even from the sidelines, it was doing whatever I could do to fire up my team because you know what? We're just as good and this is who we want to beat. This is what we practice for. We kind of at the beginning of every season we're like, you know what? These are the teams that are like top caliber, right? Like these are the great teams that we want to beat because like if we want to be top dogs, we need to play these guys. We need to beat these guys and it's never a oh well, they're really good, we're gonna have to try and beat them. It's a we're gonna beat them. If we want this we have to do this. It's a super like it's daunting. I like that word you use. It's definitely daunting, but it's exhilarating at the same time. Knowing that I feel like it's better to have competition. I don't winning isn't always fun. I feel like if you don't have to work hard for it. I feel like I always like winning way more when it's a difficult win, when it's neck and neck, when you actually don't know who's going to win. That makes it way more fun for me.
Cool.